a very historic venue in Oxfordshire. We've got 48 hours at this lake to try and catch 1 or 2 fish. You never know, the rods might burst into life. So as you've got them on the dance floor, there's always a chance. Caught one in the dark, in the freezing cold, just shows you. What I'm looking for is a deviation of depth, so most of the lake is 4 or 5 foot deep. About that to start an Oxfordshire morning. Lovely, beautiful, dark, linear mirror made up with this. It's the first real cold snap we've had for a good few weeks, and I think it's just knocked them for 6 a little bit. It's late winter, early spring, and you join me at Orchid Lakes, a very historic venue in Oxfordshire. We've got 48 hours at this lake to try and catch 1 or 2 fish. It's freezing cold, there's a northerly wind blowing, but I did see a fish show earlier on when we walked round. Time is getting on, almost dark o'clock. We managed to get the rods out, about 24 wraps. I've used the boat, so I didn't want to cause any disturbance out there. I just wanted to drop a couple of rigs, a little bit of bait. Time's getting on. We did see a fish out there, exactly where I've dropped. We're in the zone where I've dropped him anyway. We can always move tomorrow, but as it's getting late in the day, I just want to get them out there, less disturbance possible. Let's see what happens tonight, and then we can make a decision tomorrow on if we move or stay. It's absolutely freezing. The wind chill must be about -10 at the moment, and it's dropping down the actual temperature to -2 tonight. But I've just seen 3 fish about 15 yards to 20 yards behind my right hand area. So even though it's freezing, the fish are active. The light levels at this time of year, late winter, early spring, it's like the cold doesn't matter. They're awake, they're active out there, and I feel like we're going to get a bite. I feel mega confident. We'll probably catch nothing now, but I feel confident with seeing them fish. There's nothing to beat seeing fish on or near your area to give you that booster in the cold weather going into the night. Fingers crossed, hopefully, in the middle of the night, we'll have a couple of fish to show you. A bar of ice. There we go, lovely 25-pound Orchid Lakes mirror, nice scaly one. Freezing cold tonight, but it wouldn't matter what size or how big it is because we've caught one. Caught one in the dark, in the freezing cold. Just shows you, if you're out there, the rods are on the dance floor, you've always got a chance. I'm going to get her back, put her around, and get the rods back out there, see if we can catch another one. Hey man, my hands are cold. How about that to start an Oxfordshire morning? Lovely, beautiful, dark, linear mirror. Made up with this. Fought like a demon. Beautiful fish. Off the spot. Yeah, let's get her or him back. See if we can catch some more. Good morning, welcome to a freezing cold Orchid Lake. What a brilliant start to the session. Great night, having a lovely fish, and this morning having another great mirror. Well, it just goes to show, getting them rods out with the boat, nice and stealthy, not making much noise, just dropping them out there, proved to be a winner. And even better, whilst making a cup of tea this morning, Brad, the cameraman's caught a lovely mirror. So we're going to pop over there and see what a nice, big, fat orchid mirror he's got. Let's go over and have a look.
The size of her. Well, check out that incredible looking creature. 34 pound, and excuse the road behind us, it's getting up towards traffic time. Yeah, last night I decided to nick a load of bait off of Leon, get the rods out myself. And this lovely old creature paid me a visit this morning. Definitely an old one, this. Big fat gut, all crusty, just how we like them.
Coming out of winter into spring can be a brilliant time for fish location. Fish location is paramount any time of year, especially when they're waking up. You'll see them showing a bit more. They'll be getting rid of those leeches. When the weather turns a bit warmer, like you get a bit of sun during the day, maybe cold at night, if you get a bit of sun during the day, go and check out those shallower areas. Have a look for them. They'll bubbling, they'll be showing, you'll be able to see them. It's always worth taking a flask of coffee, sitting in a swim. We've got a good view of the lake this time of year and seeing where the fish are show, so that's where you can start your 48 hours or your 24 hours. Don't ignore the deeper water at night time. As those temperatures drop, those fish will go off the shallows into the deeper water, and that's where you're more than likely to get a bite. That's where I've had two of my bites from this session, and so has Brad as well. He's had his from the slightly deeper water off the side of a plateau. So don't ignore any area this time of year, but especially look for those shallow areas when it's sunny, then deeper areas when it gets cold and the sun drops. Nothing wrong with that. Right, so it's just after midday and it's time to reel the rods in. I'm going to reel all three in. I'm going to refresh the one I've had a couple of bites off, and I'm going to find a couple of new spots with new baits on for the other two. Get them back out there nice and early, so we've got 3 or 4 hours before it gets dark. All the rods will be in place, and hopefully we'll have a repeat of last night and have a couple of fish. Just while I'm refreshing the rods, finding some new spots, I thought I'd go through one of the 2 different presentations that I'm using. This is a pop-up, a nice big yellow, nice and visual, with some maggots on top. Slip D pop-up rig. I put 4 or 5 maggots on there, not too many, because I don't really want to affect the buoyancy. I want to keep it so that it's the yellow and the flavour of the pop-up's attracting the fish, but that little bit of movement on top and the handful of maggots that I'm putting in the hopper when I put it out there is going to attract the fish in. They're going to be swimming along, go, oh, I'm attracted to that. The rig, as I said, is a slip D type presentation, really nice sharp hook. I don't really present this so it wafts down. I want it boom, hard on the bottom. And you might be thinking, well, you don't normally use braid on your rigs. Reason I'm using braid is because I'm not 100% sure what the bottom's going to be like out there. I'm putting it down from a boat and I want it to float down with a bit of foam in it. Always use a bit of foam when you're using a boat, and it can land anywhere at all, like that. And it's not going to be stiff, it's not going to be a coated braid, it's going to be a bit of a normal braid. It's going to go down, sit down and be fishing for me wherever I land, night or day. So there you go, guys, that's one of my presentations I'm using. The other one is a little wafter type presentation with a few maggots on the top, with again, braid, and exactly the same thing, a little bit of foam, settles down, and I'm fishing day or night. Just about to rebait the rods. I'm just going to run you through the little mix that I have been using on this session. First thing I do is I ground down using the old Ridge Monkey crusher, whatever your boilie is. I'm using the test bait, I'm using that this year. It's been serving me well this winter, and I'm looking forward to using it all through the spring. So that's the first. Whatever bait you're using, that's what I'm using. Put it through the crusher, nice and thin, a few little bits in there. That's your sort of carpet feed, that is. Then we're going to get some little 10mm live systems. I like to mix and match with different boilies together. Small little 10mm, but it's still quite cold. And the fish like a live system 10mm I've found on all the day-tip waters that I've fished. A little bit of visual as well, because it's a little bit lighter in colour, contrast the darker, orangey, rusty colour of the new bait. And for a little bit of visual, I put in a handful of sweet corn or maize into there. Again, this time of year, I use salt, Himalayan rock salt, put in a little handful. You don't have to go mad on any of these, just make up enough mix for you to use. We're just trying to get a bite. A little bit of Himalayan rock salt in there, and you're more or less good to go. Half a handful, literally 100 maggots into that little mix as well. A little bit of visual, a nice bit of naturals, and a little bit of chopped worm if you want to put it in there. I'm using it because I've got some left over from a recent session. Again, half a handful. You don't have to go mad, you really don't, especially with the price of these worms and maggots these days. And really, all you're going to be doing is feeding up the fish and not catching them. We want to catch them. So, a little bit of mix, that's the mix I'm going to use. I'm going to put it in. One last little tip with your worm, if you include it, cut it up at the very last point. If you cut it up and leave it in your bucket all day to put it in, they're going to die and they're going to work against you. They're going to go mouldy, manky, and the fish are going to be turned off from it. Cut them up, introduce them into your mix just before you're doing it, just before you're about to take your bait boat out there or spot or whatever you're going to do. And that's my top advice for using naturals and worm. I'm going to get this out now. I'm going to do all 3 rods, wind's cold, and hopefully, for me and Brad as the cameraman, we're going to have a repeat of last night and we're going to catch a couple more Orchid Oxfordshire stunners. Right, I'm looking for spots out there with the boat, with the echo, and what I'm looking for is a deviation of depth. So most of the lake is 4 or 5 foot deep, and I'm looking for now, as I can see on there, it's gone down to 6 foot. And it looks like it's a nice hard area as well. Nice silty area, weed around it, so that's where I'm going to drop my right hand rod for tonight. 6.5, 6.8, when all around it is like 5 foot, so we're going to drop that lovely on there. Watch the rod tip go down. Lovely. Look at that, 6.5 foot. I'll be happy with that for tonight. Let's do the other 2 rods, and hopefully that'll bring us rewards in the morning or in the night time. Just coming into our final night here at Orchid Lakes in Oxfordshire, and we've got the rods out, they're all sorted. It's still cold, although it's going to be 3 degrees or 2 or 3 degrees tonight, so it's going to be absolutely tropical compared to last night, but with this wind chill I reckon it's going to be about 0, -1, something like that. Found a couple of new spots, got high hopes for those tonight, looking good, but we haven't actually seen anything today. Yesterday we'd seen a couple in the afternoon. See a couple early doors this morning, but then that's been it. It's been nothing, been really, really quiet. But I'm pretty sure they haven't gone too far away. Carp is on, we're gonna have a lovely dinner tonight. Steamed vegetables, we're gonna have a garlic chicken, we'll have loads of stuff, just to keep the spirits up, keep the food going in, keep the energy levels going, get an early night, and hopefully we'll have some more fish to show you in the middle of the night, if not first thing in the morning. Good morning. I'd love to say we've had a repeat performance of the first 24 hours when we had 2 or 3 fish. Nothing happened this morning, nothing happened last night. We haven't seen anything. It's been rather quiet to say the least. Talking to Brad, as we've sort of thought about what it is, and that really cold wind coming in and the drop in temperature to minuses has really put the fish off. It's quite a shallow lake, and I think it's just knocked them for 6 a little bit. It's the first real cold snap we've had for a good few weeks. So we was really lucky to catch those fish that we have, and a couple of nice ones. Well, they're all nice. And it's time to pack up now, slow pack up. You never know, the rods might burst into life. As long as you've got them on the dance floor, there's always a chance. But I think that's us done. Pack up, go on our way. We've had a great 48 hours and we can't wait to come back.